The silent crucible. A trader's journey through doubt to mastery. There comes a moment in every trader's journey when the world feels heavy, almost suffocating. You sit before your charts, the glow of the screen casting shadows across a face that once brimmed with excitement but now carries the weight of exhaustion. You've studied relentlessly, pored over candlestick patterns, memorized indicators, mastered risk management ratios, and internalized every trading axiom you could find. You've endured losses that stung like betrayal, weathered emotional storms that left you questioning your very essence, and perhaps even wondered if you're built for this relentless game. The profits you dream of, those tantalizing visions of financial freedom, remain just beyond your grasp, like a mirage in a desert of effort. This is the moment when most traders falter. This is the moment when the market tests not your strategy, but your soul. Before we continue, make this commitment. This channel isn't about quick fixes. It's about developing traders with mental strength and discipline. If that resonates with you, join us. Subscribe now so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Stay until the end and keep progressing with us, one mindset shift at a time. This video isn't just another trading video, it's a mirror for your mindset. Like now, comment what resonates and stay until the end. Because one idea here could change how you think and how you trade. Let's go. What you may not realize, in the depths of this fatigue and self-doubt, is that this very struggle, this grinding, disorienting cycle of near success and frustration is the clearest sign that you're closer to mastery than you think. The exhaustion isn't a signal of failure, it's a crucible, forging a version of you capable of thriving in the market's chaos. Most traders, seduced by the allure of quick wins or a magical setup, believe success arrives with a thunderclap, a perfect trade, a new strategy, or a sudden epiphany that flips their fortunes overnight. But trading success is quieter, more insidious. It creeps in disguised as struggle, cloaked in doubt, and veiled by the monotony of discipline. It doesn't come when you're riding a wave of confidence. It arrives in the aftermath of despair, when you've nearly lost faith, when you've seen every pattern the market can throw at you, and when you've learned to observe rather than predict, to wait rather than chase. This is the hidden stage of trading, the gap between understanding and mastery, where growth happens silently beneath the surface. The distance between failure and success isn't measured in time, skill, or luck. It's measured in awareness. Awareness of your reactions when trades go wrong. Awareness of when you're trading from fear or greed rather than logic. Awareness of the subtle difference between frantic activity and meaningful progress. Many traders possess all the technical knowledge they need, entry points, stop losses, position sizing, but lack the self-awareness to wield it effectively. They repeat the same emotional mistakes, expecting different results, because they're trading their feelings more than the charts. The painful truth is that you can be inches from consistency and not even know it. You're not doing the wrong things. You're simply not doing the right things long enough. Trading success doesn't reward speed or brilliance. It rewards endurance. The market is a relentless filter, weeding out those who can't endure boredom, who crumble under discomfort, who can't resist the urge to tinker with a system that simply needs time to breathe. You may already have everything you need: a tested strategy, a disciplined routine, a patient mindset. Yet you doubt yourself because the results haven't materialized. This doubt is the market's final test. It's not testing your ability to analyze charts or calculate risk. It's testing your belief in your process. How many times have you stood on the brink of quitting, only to notice a flicker of progress? Perhaps you refined your system, saw a string of promising trades, then suffered a few losses that sent you spiraling back to square one. You abandoned your strategy, convinced it was flawed, and started over, resetting your progress in a futile quest for more knowledge. But you didn't need more knowledge, you needed more conviction. Conviction isn't blind arrogance or unwavering optimism. It's the quiet resolve to trust your process through uncertainty, to hold steady when emotions scream for action, to believe in your edge even when the market offers no immediate validation. This is the real test, the one that separates those who merely trade from those who master the craft. When you can maintain composure through the emotional chaos of a losing streak, when you can execute your plan without needing constant reassurance, that's when the market begins to shift in your favor. If you're reading this, you're likely in that crucible right now. You're tired of doing the right things without seeing rewards. You're questioning whether trading is worth the toll it takes. But let me share a truth most traders never hear. The market isn't trying to break you, it's trying to refine you. The market is a harsh but impartial teacher, stripping away your illusions, your impatience, your need for control. It dismantles the habits that fuel emotional trading, impulsivity, greed, fear, and replaces them with clarity, discipline, and resilience. What feels like punishment is often preparation. The traders who succeed aren't necessarily those with the sharpest minds or the most sophisticated setups. They're the ones who endure longer, who learn to stay calm when others panic, who lose without losing themselves, who hold their conviction without forcing trades. At some point, the patterns that once confounded them begin to make sense. The noise of the market fades, and a quiet transformation takes hold. This is the prelude to every major breakthrough, the silent growth that happens just before the results arrive. The irony is that most traders never reach this point because they surrender too soon. They crave immediate confirmation that their efforts are paying off, but in trading, confirmation is always delayed. You plant seeds long before the harvest, and the traders who succeed are those who learn to love this lag. They understand that the gap between effort and reward isn't a flaw, it's the process. Think of trading like training for a marathon. The race itself isn't the hardest part. It's the months of unseen preparation. The early mornings, the grueling long runs, the days when progress feels non-existent. Each discipline session, each moment you resist the urge to overtrade, each stop-loss you honor is building something invisible. One day, that foundation becomes undeniable and the results follow. But first, you must survive the silence. Before we delve deeper, let's address the heart of the struggle. Are you grappling with fear, doubt, or the temptation to overtrade? The truth is, most traders don't fail because their strategies are flawed. They fail because their psychology is fragile. That's why resources like Master Your Mind, Master Your Trades exist, offering practical tools to tame emotions, sharpen discipline, and trade with clarity. If you're ready to elevate your mental game, check the resources available at, or explore trading psychology materials online. Now let's continue unpacking this journey. The middle stage, the silent forge of transformation. There's a stage in every trader's journey that's rarely discussed. A quiet, confusing, and emotionally draining phase that feels like a purgatory of progress. It's not the exhilarating beginning, where every chart is a puzzle to solve, and every trade a step toward riches. Nor is it the triumphant end, where consistency flows effortlessly and profits accumulate. It's the middle, the place where you've done everything right, followed your plan, managed your risk, journaled your trades, and yet the results mock your effort. The market feels like a labyrinth, with every step forward met by a setback. You're improving mentally, gaining discipline, but your account balance tells a different story. This is the stage where most traders quit, not because they lack skill, but because they can't endure the silence between effort and reward. This middle stage is the market's crucible, a forge where your old self is dismantled and a new one is shaped. It's where you confront the gap between what you know and what you can execute. You've learned the mechanics of trading, support and resistance, trend lines, risk-reward ratios, but applying them consistently under pressure is another matter. The market doesn't care about your knowledge. It cares about your behavior. It tests your ability to act rationally when emotions surge, to wait patiently when impatience beckons, to accept losses without spiraling into despair. This stage feels like walking in darkness, building skills you can't yet see, honing discipline that hasn't been rewarded, forging emotional control that hasn't been tested. It's a training ground for the mind, and it's dangerous because it's invisible. Your brain, wired for instant gratification, begins to whisper lies. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe my strategy is broken. Maybe success is for others, not me. These thoughts are the mental traps that derail most traders. They start as fleeting doubts, but grow with every emotional reaction, pulling you away from your process. What you don't realize is that this frustration isn't a sign of stagnation. It's a sign of transformation. Your old habits, the impulsivity, the need for validation, the fear of missing out are dying. This death is messy, painful, and disorienting, and most traders mistake it for failure. But you can't become consistent without first surviving inconsistency. Every trader who achieves mastery passes through this crucible. The setups feel random, the emotions feel overwhelming, and the account balance feels like a cruel joke. But these challenges are training you for something deeper, not to predict the market, but to predict yourself. Every time you take a loss and resist revenge trading, you grow. Every time you wait for a high-probability setup instead of chasing price, you grow. Every time you accept a losing day without losing your composure, you grow. These moments of discipline don't show up as profits immediately, but they're building the foundation for consistency. The problem is that this growth is invisible, and without tangible rewards, you assume you're stuck. That's the illusion. You're not stuck, you're evolving. Consider the metaphor of a bamboo plant, a story that encapsulates this stage perfectly. When you plant bamboo, nothing appears to happen for years. You water it, nurture it, shield it from storms, but for 4 long years, the soil remains barren. Then in the 5th year, the bamboo erupts, soaring up to 90 feet in mere weeks. Was it dormant all that time? No, it was building an intricate root system, invisible beneath the surface. That's you right now. You're cultivating roots, emotional resilience, mental clarity, disciplined habits that will support your success when it finally emerges. You're not just trying to make money, you're becoming the kind of trader who can sustain wealth without self-destructing. This stage is where your patience is tested most fiercely. Everything in you wants to act, to tweak your strategy, switch timeframes, try a new indicator, or increase your lot size in a desperate bid for results. But the truth is, you don't need to do more, you need to stay. Stay patient, stay consistent, stay focused on the process rather than the outcome. The market's greatest lesson is that emotional control equals financial control. When you stop reacting to every win or loss, you gain power over your trading. You begin to think clearly, make rational decisions, and protect your capital with the reverence it deserves. This is where most traders falter, not because they lack knowledge, but because they can't sit still in the face of uncertainty. The traders who succeed are those who learn to wait without losing focus. They stop fighting the market and start flowing with it. They understand that not trading is as valuable as trading, that sitting out a volatile session preserves capital just as a perfect setup generates profit. Consistency isn't built by how often you trade, but by how well you protect your edge. Every uneventful day you endure, every time you resist forcing a trade, every time you follow your rules, despite the lack of immediate reward, you're building mental muscle. You're conditioning yourself to think like a professional, not an amateur chasing excitement. This is how breakthroughs are born, not from adrenaline, but from patience. The death of the old self, embracing the transformation. There's a point in every trader's journey when the weight of the struggle becomes unbearable. You wake up, open your platform, and the charts feel like a battlefield littered with past defeats. The excitement that once fueled you has faded, replaced by a quiet dread. You've done the work, studied, practiced, lost, and persevered, yet the profits remain elusive. This is the moment when most traders quit, convinced they've reached the end of their rope. But what they don't realize is that they're not at the end. They're at the beginning of a transformation. This pain, This exhaustion is changing you. It's stripping away the ego that craved validation, the obsession with being right, the desperate need to prove your worth. The frustration quiets your impulsivity. The chaos in your mind slows. You stop comparing yourself to others, stop chasing every new strategy, stop seeking external answers. You begin to listen to yourself. This is the death of your old trading self, the impulsive, impatient version that believed success could be forced. It's not burnout, it's rebirth. Once this old self fades, a new one emerges. The market hasn't changed, but your perspective has. Losses no longer feel like personal failures, they're data points to analyze. The market's indifference, once a source of frustration, becomes liberating. You stop expecting fairness or luck and focus solely on your edge. You trade not to feel good, but to execute correctly. This shift is subtle but profound. You begin to notice how fear of missing out once sabotaged your patience, how the need for quick wins eroded your long-term edge, how the obsession with being right blinded you to the market's signals. One day it clicks. You stop fighting the market, and it begins to reward you, not because it favors you, but because you've aligned with its rhythms. This transformation is invisible at first. There's no fanfare, no sudden windfall, no external validation. That's why it's so perilous. Without immediate rewards, you assume nothing's working. But you're not failing. You're shedding the habits that kept you inconsistent. You're evolving from a gambler chasing thrills to a strategist building wealth. The moment you stop reacting emotionally, you gain clarity. The losing streaks no longer break you. The winning streaks no longer inflate your ego. You find peace in neutrality, realizing that the goal isn't to feel good after every trade, but to remain unchanged by the outcome. Every professional trader has lived this moment, the point when they thought they were finished, only to realize they were being reborn. The pain is part of the process, a storm that washes away the parts of you unfit for success. The market rewards stability, not volatility. If you can't handle discomfort during losses, you won't handle pressure during wins. This is where the noise fades. You stop envying others' wins on social media. You stop chasing new systems. You embrace simplicity, prioritize risk management, and focus on execution over results. You no longer ask, when will I make money? Instead, you ask, how can I trade better today? The final test, holding the line. If you're reading this, you're likely in the crucible, the stage that feels endless, where doubt and frustration threaten to overwhelm. But this is not the end. It's the middle, where growth hurts most. The market is testing your ability to stay calm when there's no reason to show up when it feels futile, to trust your process when results are absent. Most traders fail here, not because they lack skill, but because they can't endure the silence before success. You're closer than you think. You've already done the hard part, starting, learning, adapting. Now the final test is patience. Hold the line. Don't succumb to frustration or impulsivity. The breakthrough you seek is coming, but it arrives only when you've proven you can remain steady through the storm. The pain, the doubt, the waiting, they're not punishment. They're preparation. Success in trading isn't a destination. It's a state of being. It's the moment you trade without fear or greed, when losses don't shake you and wins don't define you. It's the day you take a loss and don't rush to recover it, when you miss a move and feel no regret, when your identity no longer hinges on your account balance. That's when you've made it, not financially but mentally. And once your mind crosses that threshold, the profits follow, not because the market got easier, but because you stopped making it harder. So if you're tired, if you're questioning everything, take heart. You're not failing, you're evolving. The market is shaping you into a trader capable of consistency if you can just hold on. The breakthrough is closer than you think, waiting on the other side of one final mindset shift. Keep showing up, keep refining, and trust that the roots you're building will soon break through. When they do, you'll look back at this stage, the silent, painful, transformative crucible, and realize it was never about surviving the market. It was about becoming the trader you were always meant to be.